Hello, good morning.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. We're doing our live Q&A. I want to discuss all the fall updates from eBay. So ask away in the questions, and we're going to address sort of 6 things that people had emailed me. But there's a lot more. So whatever the changes are, you can ask about it live, and I'll answer them. Any other questions not related to eBay Open are good too. So just let me know. And this pineapple shirt did sell yesterday, but it didn't sell until I wore it. So now that I'm wearing it, it'll be worth more, and we'll send it to the customer. Thank you, Kai Kuma, for the support. So the shirt's going out later today, and I'm a big fan. And nobody wanted this shirt. This shirt is awesome, and
Yeah, I
and for
like it.
some reason it was like one of the best shirts, but nobody wanted it yesterday.
All right, so number one for the eBay Open is they launched a brand new international shipping program.
Yeah. Okay, so eBay shipping internationally is a bit wonky, but I think that I still recommend for people just starting to use the global shipping program because international shipping can be quite complicated, and if there's any issues, you're responsible for it if you send it. So they were losing a lot of ground, I think, to third party shipping because third party shipping was much cheaper than eBay. As an example, I used Pirate Ship, and sometimes it was $20 cheaper to use Pirate Ship than eBay's international shipping option. But again, it takes a little bit of adjusting, and if you're just getting going with listing, it's more important to focus on what you're selling, sourcing great items, than worrying about international shipping. I feel like a lot of people get caught up and they waste the whole day thinking about it. So I'd rather you in the beginning just use global shipping program. And like I said before, I in our mentorship group with Tech and Sports, he has 50,000 items, and he's the biggest eBay seller. That's just a person and not a company. He uses the global shipping program. So if it's good enough for him, it should be good enough for everybody listening right now. If you want to play with it to save a couple bucks, that's okay. But just remember, sometimes this is like, I don't know the analogy, stepping over dollars to save pennies. What is the analogy of stepping over dollars to save pennies? People will essentially learn how to save a couple bucks and lose hundreds of dollars a day in productivity. So, yeah, that's number one.
Number two, they launched an initiative to reduce unpaid items.
Okay, so this means that before they make an offer now, the customer is being asked to enter in their payment information. And, a lot of websites, I think every website actually, you can't make an offer or buy an item without actually putting your payment information in. But on eBay, it's different. If somebody offers $90 and you accept, it doesn't immediately charge them. So eBay is working on this, and they also set up with themselves up with managed payments. They're doing the payments in house because before it was PayPal or a third party like authorized.net. And of course, since they didn't handle the payments, they couldn't do that. A lot of eBay sellers don't know that, especially people who are new, and they think that, oh, what's wrong with eBay? They don't blah blah blah, but they weren't their own payment processor until recently. So that's why eBay just introduced fee netting, which means, I mean, not that long ago, eBay started taking the fees out before you got the money instead of at the end of the month. So it's interesting. If you knew that, why didn't you know that before they couldn't accept the payments right away because they didn't handle it? So I think that people really need to listen because it was obvious why they could not do this before. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. But if you're not handling your own processing, of course you can't charge people up front.
Number three, they are prioritizing fitment in the parts and accessories portion of the site.
That makes sense. There's a lot of auto parts sellers in our group, and fit is always the biggest issue. So it could say 2006 Nissan Altima headlight, and somebody will leave a negative feedback and say it doesn't fit my 2011 Nissan truck, and it's not even the same thing. Like they bought something for a car, different brand, doesn't fit. So really, I think they're going to do a better job of delivering a good quality experience for the parts category and really focusing on fit because eBay is really, like, in my opinion, one of the number one sites for used parts. When you're looking for a used part, eBay probably has it. So sometimes you're saving 80, 90% off of a new one. So really interesting stuff. And I think that if you want to get into a category where things sell fast, the auto part category is a really good one. It just takes a little bit more work. You've got to go to the pick and pull, pick your own items, and remember, it's much easier if you like only sell sunroofs only sell shift knobs, only sell tonneau covers, because then you know how to remove them, you know how to do it. But if you sell a little bit of everything, you're going to be in trouble. Also, I want to point out a lot of people don't understand that without context, my answer doesn't matter. Okay, because someone says, "Oh, I thought you said free shipping. Don't use free shipping. How come you're talking about free shipping now?" The context is different, right? You need to think about what I'm saying and what I'm talking about. If you just use what I'm saying and apply it all over the place, it doesn't make sense. So you have to think about the context of when I recommend using something different. In the beginning, you can't be a niche seller. I don't know why so many people are confused about this, but they said, "You told me to niche down. Why is it okay to be an everything seller when you start?" Because you don't know. In the beginning, you don't know what to sell. You're an expert in nothing. So everything is good for you to learn. Like, don't say you're gonna niche down in teddy bears if you've never sold one. It doesn't make sense. You've got to get used to it, learn a little bit more, and it's just important to understand that context is apparently very uncommon. So, you know how they say common sense is not common? Well, listening to the context of something is even less common because everything I say, you need to figure out why I'm saying it. Yeah.
And people listen to just like headlines.
People only listen to the
And the
headline and
title.
they don't understand. There's an article going around right now that's very confusing. It says this lady with 3 kids made $700,000 last year. It's very confusing, okay? Because when you do the math, I don't know how they come up with 700,000 for one, and then made 700,000 sounds like she got 700,000 in her bank account or that was her pre-tax income, which I don't think is true because like very few people make $700,000 a year income, and it says on the article income. So when I hear $700,000 income, my ears perk up because that's very rare. And they listed what she does. So she's a social media influencer. And she sells on Instagram Live, and she lists on Poshmark, 100 items a day. So when I do the math, 100 items a day times 30 items, that's around, say 20 to 30. That's like $2,000 to $3,000 worth of stuff listed. Not all of that stuff sells, so I'm confused because they didn't say how many items she sold. They just said how many items she listed, that doesn't mean anything. You could list 10,000 items and none of them sell, right? And then the live streaming thing I'm pretty familiar with, but they didn't give the breakdown on how much of it is social media branding and how much of it is reselling. So it's a very misleading and confusing article because I don't know where the 700,000 came from, and I guarantee you it's 700,000 gross, not 700,000 income, because that's crazy. I also have a social media channel, and my following is larger than hers, and I don't get paid anywhere near those numbers. So I don't know where. Like, according to that article, it looks like she's making $400,000 as an influencer, and that doesn't make sense. That's like a lot. That means you're getting paid $2,000 for an Instagram post, or $5,000 or $10,000 every single video, and you're making videos nonstop. So I don't know how they come up with those numbers, but context is important. So 700,000, I always think, huh, how? Instead of, whoa, that's amazing. How do I do what she's doing? I like to think, how is she making that, and then can you replicate it? So it's important to understand context.
We do have a couple questions, but
Yeah.
should we finish the list?
No, we can go to those questions first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. There's a question from Seth who says, "What's a good conversion rate?"
So it depends on your category. If you sell used clothing, I would say a good conversion rate's probably 0.5% a day. So if you have 100 items, you probably sell none a day. You have 200 items, you probably sell one a day. I would consider that pretty good for average clothing. If you have exceptional clothing, like let me give you guys an example. Rag and Bone jeans. I'm thinking about buying, or I'm trying to work on a lead right now for 3,000 Rag and Bone jeans, right? All brand new. So these jeans have an MSRP between $100 and $200. If you had them priced for $1 free shipping, how long do you think it would take to sell? The MSRP is over 100, and the solds on eBay are between $50 and $70 for new jeans. What is the sell-through rate and conversion if they're only $1 free shipping? If I offered those jeans right now on YouTube for $3,000 free shipping, how fast would they sell?
For $3,000?
3,000 pairs for $3,000 free shipping.
Very fast, I assume.
MSRP would be, excuse me, 150,000. So $3,000 to sell for probably around 70 to 80,000. I'm assuming the sell through rate would be instantly. I'm pretty sure everyone a bunch of people on this call would just buy that right now. So it depends on what you price it at. And this is a really important question because it depends on context. I can't answer the conversion question without a lot of context. What are you selling? How much? And what's the market? Connor, can you help me get a water? Sure. Thanks.
Okay, let's go back to number 4 of the eBay Open. So number 4 is store subscribers can upload videos to their storefronts on eBay and will be ramped up for everyone by end of September.
What are my thoughts on that?
I guess so.
Huge, colossal waste of time. So do not spend a week uploading a video to your store when it doesn't matter. Like, I think the best example of this is Greg Morris Cards. Greg Morris Cards sells like 10,000 items a day. He hasn't even updated his profile picture. It's still the question mark. Oh, thank you. It's still the question mark. So like, it doesn't matter. It's so silly for eBay to send people on these wild goose chases. Why would you waste time on that? People only care about the product.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's to their storefront. It's not because there's already videos for items, but you
Yeah,
don't,
that
you
doesn't
don't
make
even
sense.
recommend.
I'm not
videos
going to
for
your
items.
storefront to watch your video. No one's doing that.
Yeah. All right, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is eBay would begin reducing unpaid items by collecting payment information during the best offer submission flow.
Yep.
So once a seller accepts an offer, the payment will be processed.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure that's going to fly because so many eBay buyers are used to paying whenever they feel like it. So it's hard to go backwards. But maybe new people to eBay, they won't know. And so they'll register to bid. And so when they make an offer, they'll realize it's more serious. So I have a question to ask you guys based on this. I've been getting a lot of complaints about eBay's advertising. eBay advertises sometimes that you can find great deals on the website. Does that make you guys mad? Because I've gotten a lot of heat. People saying, I don't want eBay to do that. I don't want eBay to advertise great deals because I don't want to give a great deal. I want them to pay full price for my item on eBay. eBay is bringing in all these garbage customers who want a great deal. What do you guys think?
What are your thoughts?
Should they say, come to eBay and buy average items for full price? Should that be the marketing instead? Because I'm really confused. People are furious. Like, eBay's bringing in the worst customers. I can't believe I sell on this site. And I don't know what they're supposed to advertise. It's really confusing to me. Like, do you understand the point of marketing, which is like to get people to shop on wherever your store is? And I don't get it. It's, I don't know. I want one of those people to come onto my YouTube channel and explain to me what's so bad about that. Like, what is the mentality behind eBay advertising great deals? I don't know. Things sell for more money on Amazon than eBay. That's just the reality. I don't know if eBay says, you know what? Instead of buying on Amazon where you get it in 1 or 2 days, buy on our website for the same price or more and get it way slower. Our sellers sometimes take 16 days to ship an item. I don't get. We can't even guarantee how fast items ship because we're not in people's houses. We have no control over the item. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And the emails I'm getting, I don't get it. I'm not mad at eBay for doing that. I'm not. I don't get it.
Seth says we need those customers, and Boog says I want traffic. So
I want those customers. I don't get it. They spend $1 million a day on advertising. Like, I want that. I want that. People, like, you guys know I'm selling on Whatnot now, and they're doing advertising like that too. Get great items. Auctions start at $1. I think that's effective. I think somebody who's never shopped on the website thinks, you know what? I can get Gucci for $1, and they show up bidding for $1, and they realize, oh wow, this isn't a live auction site. It doesn't end at $1, right? I don't think people are like, yeah, I expect Gucci for $1. The advertising said $1. Like the advertising says starts at $1. So I think that's effective. I think that tons of people are moving to live auction, and I don't know, guys. I just think that the advertising is very effective, and if it wasn't, then people wouldn't shop on eBay because eBay is not the best experience compared to other websites.
The last update to talk about for eBay Open on our list is that they signed a partnership with the Italian soccer team AC Milan.
I love it. All of these things that eBay does, I think, are good. They want to bring in more customers, new, vibrant things. I think they should partner with The Rock and Kevin Hart, and I think they should give me my account back because
Yeah.
the eBay up and coming grant. There was 50 people that won that award of $10,000, and 8 or 9 of them are in our group. So it's like, if you are in our group, learn how to resell properly, then you've got the credibility of a good seller part down. Then the next part you need to win that grant is just be a good story, right? You came from nothing, now you have something. Great story, makes you a great candidate to win that award. If you already have everything going for you and you already know how to do eBay, then you're not going to win the grant. You've got to have a good story. So those of you that are just starting or want to learn but don't know a lot, you're a candidate to win something like that because your story is awesome. So I think it's really important for people to realize if you have nothing and turn it into something, that's a lot more inspiring than you already like right now. Would it surprise people if I made a successful eBay store? Probably not. So that's not a good story. I'm not going to win that award. Like guy who's already been successful on eBay becomes successful on eBay again. It's terrible. Not good marketing. But person at home, everything going against them, they made it work. That person's a great story. Hopefully there are questions in the chat soon.
Yes, there are lots of questions. So earlier, when you were talking about when someone is new to reselling, they'll probably have an everything store. Peter's asking, is that why your Whatnot stream has become kind of like an everything store, that you're still figuring it out?
There's a couple reasons why it's become that way. One is people run out of money. So if I run women's clothing all day, towards the end, people's wallets are empty. There's only so much demand for the products that I'm selling. So the stream might start at like $40 an item, and by the end of the stream, it's down to $31 an item, and people have the same interest. They just ran out of money. So I'm considering doing different categories like women's clothing, men's clothing. The Pokemon category is really full. Lots of people have lots of money. So there's two different ways to approach this, right? Sell something that you're an expert in. So I'm an expert in women's clothing now. Um, Maybe not an expert like I know all the fabric materials and I know all the different fabric types, the all the different styles, but I do know what brands are on trend. So I'm purchasing those brands to resell. So my point is like you can sell what you're good at or what you know or what you can source available around you, or you can source what's hot. So as an example, the Pokemon category is hot. I think Magic the Gathering is hot. I think Funko Pop is hot. All these things are hot. So those things will sell, and now your job is to find it at a price that you can profit, which is traditionally more challenging. So it's easier to find something at the thrift store and it costs $5 and you sell for 50. That's easier in my opinion than figuring out what sells for 50 and then finding it for 30 or 20 or 10. That's harder. Like an example I brought up in the morning call this morning in the Patreon call was I went to the grocery store with my wife with no list, just walking with the baby, and like, okay, let's just get some snacks for lunch. We ended up spending $40 for the two of us for some snacks, some drinks, some cheese. So it's $40, which is really expensive for lunch. But then we went home, made a list, went to Trader Joe's, bought the groceries for the week, and for the two of us, it was like $55 for a week of food versus $45 for one meal. So if you go to the thrift store without a plan, right, you could easily spend $40, $50, $100 on random items that don't sell. But imagine you went to the thrift store with a list. I'm only going to buy these items. It'd be easier. You'd be in and out. Also, if you have a budget, like I only want to spend $100 today at the thrift and I want to source $500 worth of stuff, it makes it easier for you to say no to items that don't match because you're like, oh no, that doesn't meet my metric. Don't get it. Because some people in the beginning, if they're an everything store, maybe it makes sense for you to get a ping pong table that's $20, right? Because you only have $100. So you buy the ping pong table, it fits in your car, go home, put it on Craigslist, sell for 200. Maybe that's worth it for you in the beginning because you have more time than money. One of the things I noticed sells really well is Sterilite storage containers. I've been selling those like crazy because I've been doing more consignment. I've been doing more. I sold all the bins from my old eBay store. Those sell like crazy. People are moving all the time. They need stuff like that. So, you finding storage bins on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist for $1 or $2, or Goodwill, because a lot of people donate the stuff in the bins. Post it online. It's going to sell immediately, and that's something I want to talk about more in the future is local sales. If you can sell your item locally, then imagine you turn the gas on and put it on to a worldwide audience. You can't sell it locally. So, as an example, this pineapple shirt, right? It doesn't have there's no tag on it, so there's no brand. So if I put it on local, it might be difficult because no one's really searching for a pineapple shirt unless you're a swinger. I think the term upside down pineapple is a swinger term. But maybe no one's really looking for this. But turn it on to eBay. Maybe somebody is looking for a Hawaiian inside out pineapple shirt. I don't know what other keywords for this. Gray. You put the keywords in. Maybe you can now find a customer because there's millions of people on eBay. But in your local area, maybe you can't sell it. But if I put up a MacBook in my local area, it'll sell because there's people looking for that locally. Don't need eBay for that. You could put up an iPhone or a MacBook or an iPad at a little bit below market, local pickup, somebody can buy it today, they can go and get it. So for beginners, you got to spend more time sourcing.
Let's see. From Carla, why does eBay hold on to money so long?
I don't think it's that long. I think that it takes less than a week to get your money. When you're just starting, it takes 3 weeks. That's about the same as a regular paycheck, though. Like it's not a pawn shop where you go give your stuff to them and they give you money for your items the same day. It's not like that. It's like a real business. It takes time for them to process it. And if you're new, it takes even longer. I just sent a Zelle transfer to someone, and because they're new to Zelle, they could only receive a certain amount, right? But other people, they can receive $20,000 in a Zelle instantly. Other people who are just starting, I think the limit might be $100. So it just takes time to build that relationship. Got to be patient. If you want to sell on eBay, 2 or 3 weeks shouldn't make or break you. But honestly, once you get established, from when you sell it to when it's in your bank account, it's less than 7 days.
Denaway Woodcrafting says, do you think we will have to fill all 24 photo slots to maintain optimal listing viewings?
No, because most people will still do 1 or 2 pictures. So most people do the bare minimum. Most people do 1 picture. So 24 pictures of a shirt is unnecessary. So there's going to be some unusual hacks. There's going to be people like rotating the camera 360 degrees to get 24 pictures. It doesn't make any sense. But people will do that to fill it up. And if what eBay used to do in the past is that more pictures will do better. So if you want to go through the time of taking 24 pictures for your item and do the best you can, all the different close-ups of all the different areas, it's up to you. I think it's possible you might even confuse your customer with 24 photos of a shirt because they're like, why is he taking a picture of the back of the fabric tag, and why is there a close-up on what country it was manufactured in? And why is there a picture of the inside stitching? And why is there a picture of the inside of the button? Like, you know what I mean? These pictures
Yeah.
are kind of unnecessary, so you might confuse your customer.
It starts to get irrelevant. And then
Yeah,
they get
I would
bored
say
with it.
around 10 pictures is still excellent.
Yeah. Let's see. David Tech Music says, how do you store big jackets if they don't fit in the 1-gallon Ziploc?
That's great. Can you guys hear me okay with this Rode mic? We're trying out the microphone today.
There has been no complaints, though. I'm going to assume that
No
it's great.
complaints. Wow. Okay, so I use a bin storage system or a box storage system. So as an example, let's say one of these is my inventory system, and instead of putting that into a 1 gallon bag because a coat or a jacket wouldn't fit into there, I would just put one item in this box and just leave it mostly empty and move on to the next system. So if I'm going one through five is here, 6 through 10 is here. This one is the item is too big, so maybe only number 11 is in here. So then 12 through 15 is in the next one. And then when that sells, that's why I like to consolidate. So in the new chronological system that I'm using, if it's too big, I just throw it in there. One item per bin.
Wax Clothing Company says, how many items do you sell a day and how many staff do you need to fulfill this?
On average, I'm around 150 items a day right now, and I have 2 staff. So I think that it's a little bit of overkill. I don't need 2 staff because it could be less. It just depends on what we're selling. So now that I'm selling more bundles to increase my average sale price, it 2 people I think is just right. They also help me with prepping. They also help me source. So I would say on average the capacity per person is 700 a week. You could do 100 a day by yourself pretty easily, especially if they're all similar. Like it depends what category. In the sports card, I think you could do 100 to 200 a day by yourself. If you're selling refrigerators, maybe like 10 a day because it's more bulky and more difficult to move around. Also, if you guys have a Fitbit, someone in our group made a group for resellers. So you can add me on Strava, Daily Refinement, and on Fitbit. We're gonna try to get into shape. So this thing is actually pretty cool. It helped me. I'm not sponsored by them yet, but we get the steps. I want to do 10,000 steps a day, and I want to try to sleep 7.5 hours a day. So this told me that even though I'm in my bed 7.5 to 8 hours a day, I'm not sleeping the whole time. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to improve my sleep. The last 3 days in a row, my sleep has improved, even though I've been in bed the same amount of time. Also, my resting heart rate is 46. Seems kind of low. So maybe I'm dead inside. I don't know. I feel like
Means
that's a
you're
low.
healthy.
I think that's a low heart rate. Seems low.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, another question is from a couple hunters.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on selling used kids' clothes on eBay or whatnot? Thank you.
So, question. Let me ask you guys. My daughter is 1.5. Was it the 26th?
What's the date?
I think it's the 26th.
26.
Today, she's 17 months old. And we are starting to buy used stuff for her because it's cheaper and she only wears it for a couple months. And we didn't do that before. I think under 12 months, people give you stuff. So, like, for at least for us, we have way too much 0 to 12 months stuff because it's really cute and I think people love gifting stuff. We can't even use it all and it's new. So I don't know about selling stuff 0 to 12 months because a lot of people get that for free. I don't know your experience in the group, or let me know in the chat if you guys have kids and how that works. But I feel like 0 to 12 months, you've got to sell big lots of it. So like a big box of kid stuff, $20. That might sell, but from my experience, 0 to 12, there's not a lot of like interest because people get it new. Also, at least for me, you try to use new stuff. I think for the first baby, but from what I've heard, second, third, fourth, 12th baby, they're all hand-me-downs. So, I don't know. Kids stuff I think sells better in lots. I think there's a big opportunity in a sense that not a lot of people sell it on whatnot, but I feel like the average dollar amount is so low. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't sell for much.
PG says, "Hi Chris, can you tell me why eBay is requesting so much information per listing?"
There's a billion listings on eBay, so what they're trying to do is accurately match what the customer is looking for with what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever the customer is looking for, what you have, they're trying their best to match. That's why. So
The more information, the better.
more information, the better.
Yeah. Danish says, how can I scale my store? Doing listing random items that sells very good. Listings, I have 270 listings and daily sales 13 to 20 with a sale conversion of 5%.
That's really fast. So what is she asking? How do I
How do I
scale?
scale it?
So this is a really good way of looking at it, and I don't really get that many of this type of question very often. So I'm very happy. Essentially, what like she's selling five to
So she has 270 listings and then daily sales of 13 to 20.
I love it. So that's really fast sell through rate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only two ways to scale that. One way would be to list more items, right? So you have to list more items, and that comes from selling similar items, streamlining processes, ordering bulk. So more items would be scale. The other way to scale, I guess, would be to charge a little bit more because maybe you're selling items a little bit too cheap. That would be the only thing I can think of. Sometimes people sell items too cheap and ends up they're selling things too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So either more profit per item or more items.
Thumbtown Thrifter says, what are your thoughts of being an affiliate for eBay?
So that's a good question. I unfortunately never got paid to influence for eBay, but Whatnot does pay me for each new person I bring to the platform. I get paid for eBay. If I got a commission for how many people started an eBay store because of me, it would probably be a big check. I feel comfortable because I feel like I'm still. You guys let me know in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10 where you think I rank in eBay influence. I think it's pretty high. I would say 10 out of 10 as far as like people who care about eBay listen to my content. So I would love to get paid to do that because it makes sense. So as long as I can sell on eBay, I would love to be paid by them. But if I can't, they're not going to pay me if I can't even sell on the platform. So I got to get my account back first. Yeah. So I would love to be affiliated with them.
Glasshammer says, hi Chris, seller from UK here. Been watching your videos for over a year. I mainly sell vinyl records. Conversion rate is around 1.5%. Am I doing okay?
I'm not sure the vinyl market if that's good or not. I would compare the competition with your sell through rate and then determine if you have enough cash flow for that. I think 1% a day is very fast. That means you're turning over your inventory every 3 to 4 months. So I personally think that's probably fine, but it depends on your cost. If you're selling vinyl records that you buy for 10 for 15, then that's not a very big margin, so it's a bit scary. But if you're making a good profit per vinyl, then that's probably excellent.
X's House Hustle says, I'm supposed to do my first Whatnot auction on Friday.
I love it.
How do you think I will do, starting about 200 items, all at $1?
Should be doing well. Make sure that you ask people to comment in the chat. It takes a while. Don't get discouraged. And make sure that you're okay selling items for just $1. You may not get any bids. I didn't get any bids on this pineapple shirt, even though I have 13,000 followers on Whatnot. No one wanted this awesome pineapple shirt, which makes no sense, right? And again, you want to know why? Because there's no brand. People want the brand. They're really brand conscious. So you could have a really, really sweet dinosaur egg that you made out of granite and you polished it and it was amazing. And it was a great paperweight, but also doubled as a great door stopper. It has all these cool features, but nobody wants it because it's not brand name. But if it was made by Supreme and had a box logo on it, maybe it sells for $90. I don't know. Just depends on what it is.
And perhaps the platform? I
And
feel like that
perhaps
would
the
sell on
platform.
Etsy because
Yeah.
it's all artisans.
That's true. Might sell on Etsy. I find that okay, this is wild to me. I've been selling jeans for like $1 to $5 a pair for the most part, wholesale. And somebody was explaining to me this morning that you can deconstruct a pair of jeans and sell it for like up to $10. So this is like making jean squares out of the jeans so that crafters can use them in their quilt. Also, you can take the pockets, the waist elastic, the zipper, and sell all those different pieces separately on Etsy. So somebody was talking about like that's wild. So essentially, I was using the brand. Somebody told me the brand is called Fiskars. It has the orange handle for the scissors. I was using that one time. One time I cut up jeans that I wasn't using. Actually, let me back up. One time a lady ordered only high-rise Levi's shorts for me, right? And she said, to save on shipping, will you cut the legs off? I want the mid-thigh, so cut off from the mid-thigh down, and that way I can buy more from you. She bought like 2,000 pairs of Levi's high-rise shorts, and she bedazzled them. So she paid $4 or $5 for me, and then she put sparkles on them, and she sold them for $200 on her website, whatever. Amazing website. But then I had all these Levi's pant legs from the thigh below, and they sold as denim squares on eBay. I sold them all in like 50-pound lots, but now I realize every single part of the jean is valuable. And I also looked up, somebody repurposed one for the brand Double RL, so Ralph Lauren's high-end brand, and a wallet made out of denim sold for $116. So imagine repurposing a pair of Levi's or something into something else.
HB Picker says, question, if someone leaves a negative feedback 38 days after delivery and just says it is not as described, never contacted the seller, and the seller is top rated plus, will eBay remove that?
I think no. I think, is it 60 days, guys, or 30 days? Somebody put that in the chat. I wouldn't let it get that old. I would try to handle a negative feedback immediately. In our group, there's a couple of hacks that people use to try to remove feedback. I'll give you one right now. It's kind of a hybrid. Like Tech has a method in the group that's like 99.9% effective. And if you call back and talk to 3 or 4 different people, most likely your feedback removed. But another way I thought was really clever is you have to have free returns, so you have protection against negative feedback if somebody opens a return. So first off, you want to offer free returns and ask the customer to return the item, because if that happens, the feedback automatically falls off. But number 2, if you reach out to them, or if you call eBay and say, I want to resolve this feedback, does anybody know what the first question eBay asks is? If you reach out to customer service and say, this customer left me a negative feedback, what will the eBay rep ask you? I think people know, but...
Well, earlier you asked how long. Psychic says 90 days.
Okay, 90 days. But I think that they won't remove it unless it's 60 days or younger.
Christopher says, what's the item number?
No. Well, yes, they ask you what item it is, but then what do they ask you after they pulled up the item?
Austin says, have you contacted the customer?
That's right. So eBay will ask you, have you contacted the customer? So then what you can do, this is like ultra top secret stuff, so please leave a super chat. You can say, they'll ask, have you contacted the customer? And you can say, no, I have not. And they'll say, okay, great, contact the customer and then call us back. So what you could do is, at that point, you can message the customer, right? Call back and say, hey, the customer hasn't responded yet. I did everything you said. You told me to contact the customer. I did that. I have free returns. What gives? What else can I do? And if you get the right rep, they'll remove the feedback. Sometimes they'll say, give it a minute. You just messaged them 2 seconds ago, right? So you have to play that game correctly, because if you respond to the customer and they respond back, now it's an even bigger headache for the eBay rep to remove your feedback. So they want to remove your feedback for you. You just got to do the best thing. So the best would be like message the customer, and then a long period of time has passed, and then they haven't responded. That gives you the best odds of removing the negative feedback. Also, if you guys want to join the group and become our resident feedback fixer, I think you can make 6 figures. Because there's a service that I'm not going to shout out because the guy is really stingy and never shouts out me shouting him out. So hell no, I'm not going to support that guy anymore. If you want to be our resident feedback fixer, please join the group. And if you're an expert in customer service, you can help people remove their negative feedback, and people will pay you a fee, a generous fee of like, I'm sure $15 to $30 per feedback. and you could just become full-time feedback fixer in our group. So, no soup for the guy that does it and never shouts us out. It's totally rude. We've made that guy like thousands and thousands of dollars with referrals, and he never shouts us back. So, screw that guy.
Okay, so Gasper says, "Hey Chris, I average 1,200 listings.
Yep.
I'm selling clothing, about 520 items in a 90-day cycle. My conversion rate is around 1.8%.
Really good.
In your opinion, you think that's on par?"
Why do people care?
I just want to
What
know.
does my opinion matter?
They
Is it
wanna-
fast enough for you? Okay, here's the thing. What do you guys think? I'll give you an example. I did a shoe game last Friday where it was $275 for an entry. And everybody got $300 worth of shoes. So everyone got what they paid for. But one person got a $1,300 shoe. And they paid $275. Now, I really like that shoe. And I offered the person $750 cash for the shoes. So would you guys take the deal, or would you get it since you're a reseller, flip it yourself, because the market value is between 12 and 1,400. So even if you sold it on the low end, after fees and everything, you would get 1,000. Would you take 750 right now, or take the item and sell it yourself for 1,000 and make $1,000? You pay 275. You pay 275. Would you take 750 right now, or would you sell it yourself because you're a reseller, you know what you're doing, get your 1,000? It would take you less than 30 days to complete the transaction to get your money. Guaranteed.
We have several people saying, "I take the deal." Someone says, "Take the money." Someone says, "Flip myself."
Yeah, I think a lot of people will flip themselves. And the lady says, she was like, that's an easy pass. I'm going to get my $1,000. I know how to resell. So for her, it was easy to say no. But that's your sell-through question, right? Do you want the money right now? You can keep lowering your price until it sells instantly. Or if you want to wait a little bit longer, up to you. So it depends.
Sammy says, "Dear Chris, how can I start as a seller on Whatnot?"
First, apply to sell. If you need help with that, I can do my best. You can email me at chris@dailyrefinement.com. I need your name, email, phone number, what platform you sell on, why you're a good candidate for Whatnot, what your social media handles are, and anything else that you like, what you like to do for fun. So I'll do my best to try to push you through, but I think the wait list is 30,000 people. A lot of people are trying to get on there. If you can bring your own audience, you pretty much get instantly approved. That's the main key. Can you bring your own audience? And I was just thinking about this as an example. If you are a barber, I think you can just rent a booth at a barbershop. Is that right? I don't know. But I think if you are a barber and you have your own clients, can't you just work anywhere? Will any barbershop just accept you if you have? I have 1,000 customers that want my haircut, and I want to use your facility and pay you a piece of it. Seems pretty straightforward, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they rent chairs usually.
Yeah, seems like that.
Lord Zibalba says, "Do you have any advice on how to not have to refund a buyer when an item is shown as delivered and your buyer states that they never got the item?"
You automatically win. So if you respond back to eBay customer service with the tracking number,
Yeah.
you automatically win.
Let's see. Musa says, "Hey Chris, any tips on bidding on an online storage unit auction? Would you avoid trashy looking units, or would you bid on units with organized bins and boxes?"
It's a great question. I think the messier it is, the less people bid, so you get a better deal. If it looks like, categorical, like a PhD in librarianism put them together, then maybe it's worth more, but I don't know. There's no guarantee. I see some really, really nice looking storage units that sell for 500 that are worth nothing, and some big pile of garbage ones that sell for $1 that are worth thousands. It's really difficult. Depends on what's in it.
And with those, they don't really show you too much.
They give you 3 crappy pictures and they put the Gucci box on top. So
Right.
that's how they do it. I've even heard some stories of people, you know, really upstaging the units, but I find that unethical. So it is what it
False
is.
advertising,
False
kind of thing.
advertising.
Bargain Hunter says, question, if you had two stores, one with 1,000 items and one with 100 items, does
Yeah.
eBay add the items together to get your daily sales, or are they counted as separate stores?
They treat them the same. You can have one store that sells things faster than the other store. Um, but if one store is below standard, both stores will be below standard. So I've seen people with two stores, one does okay, one does well, but I've never seen somebody with two stores, one does bad and one does good. That'll eventually catch up with you. They'll eventually match up that you're the same person. So I had that. One store was doing awesome, one store was doing good. So I think if they both fall below standard, it's also seen as circumventing eBay fees to go to another site. So I recommend one platform. I would close the 100 item store and just sell on the 1,000, or I would close the 1,000 item store and put them into the 100 store slowly if that store is doing better. But that's only if they're both above standard. If either of them is below standard, take off the good one and put it on the below standard and fix the below standard store.
I think they might also be asking, like, in terms of seeing the stats of the stores, is it just one stat for both of them, or you like can see? The
It's
stats?
separate.
Okay,
The
that's
stats
separate.
are separate. They wouldn't combine them.
Anger Collections says, I've been selling TCG and other platforms and
Yeah.
have been successful. With zero experience on eBay and with all the changes, is it worth the time to build up and start eBay nowadays?
I think so. I think that if you're a TCG seller, a serious one, you have to have eBay for your high end stuff. But I don't know. Like as an example, I follow a Pokemon seller named Pokemon Wizard underscore TCG, I think, on Instagram. He sells only Pokemon slabs. So he grades 6,000 cards per month and only does Pokemon slabs for the most part. I find that a really cool model. So here's an example. He was selling some Charizard that was worth $2,000 on eBay. On Whatnot, he was selling it for 4 grand and he got it. So he was selling items for twice as much as eBay. And I see that in a bunch of categories, including my own. Sometimes I sell items for more than eBay. So if you have a captive audience and they really want it, I think you can charge more on a live streaming option. But if you're looking for that slow growth and sort of that medium, I think the medium might be better on eBay. Low end stuff, high end stuff, Whatnot's probably better. Because if somebody says, I'm looking for Gengar, and you have a Gengar right there, and they want it, maybe they overpay. Yep.
Trendy Hunter says, how would you price a vintage 90s Giorgio Armani jeans that are new with tag? I'm afraid to underprice and there are no comps found.
I would underprice it and just move on. That's not like it's probably out of style, and I don't care about that item. It's not historically significant. You can get something else, and you have to find the right customer. So I wouldn't be scared to undersell it. What's the difference between 80 and 120? It's not like you have a lot of them. So underprice it, move it, buy something else.
So if there are no comps found, what is your advice on that?
I would look at modern Giorgio Armani pants and then just comp maybe a little bit higher if it's cooler. Then, like if this pair of pants is the exact same as a current one that sells for 80, but it's vintage, maybe price a little bit higher.
JJ says, how do you expedite listings if you don't want to do it yourself?
If you outsource listings, it's pretty dangerous because if it depends if you're good at it. If you're bad at it and you outsource it, they're gonna make some horrible listings for you. If you're an expert in listing, you know exactly the steps. You can outsource anybody. If they come up with any of the steps, you're in trouble because they're essentially you're paying somebody to add mistakes to your store. That's what you're doing. So if you know exactly what you're doing and they're just copying what you do, you can hire someone at any time. There's no nothing lost. So yeah, you can. What's the question again?
I was just asking, like, if there's no comps, like, how?
No, I mean the next question was the.
Right. How do you expedite listings if you don't want to do it yourself?
If you don't want to do it yourself, you can hire somebody else to do it, but just make sure they do it exactly how you do it. So somebody asked
Right.
me for a photo sequence that they can use for their photographer, and I just didn't respond because you need to come up with your own photo sequence. Like I could give you one, but what if it's not okay? Front, back, right, left. Is that a good enough? Now you can hire someone. It's not really good enough because you need to figure out what pictures you like.
Yeah, that's right.
So a listing is kind of complicated. Title, subtitle, bold or not, condition description, condition, custom SKU is what you can use to store your items, like an inventory system or what you paid for or where you bought it. There's the item specifics, which usually require an expert, the description, the pricing, best offer or not. There's 10 different eBay promotions. There's a return policy, there's a shipping policy. That is what an eBay listing is. It's kind of complicated. So outsourcing that, there's like 30 different opportunities for somebody to screw it up. That's why it's difficult to hire out. I wonder if the Fitbit counts our movements.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gem Drops says, "Are you still trying to get on eBay?" And secondly, I am trying to increase my year net sales to 50K a year. Right now I'm at 13K. Any advice?
In theory, 4 times as many listings, because that would be 52,000 if you times 13 by 4. But just be careful as you scale. It's difficult to maintain the quality as you grow. And yes, I'm trying to get back on eBay. I'm trying to decide what I would do. Do you guys recommend that if I get back on the eBay, I do it by myself at home? That's kind of what my gut feeling says is that I don't live in an area that's competitive. Like I pay $3 a square foot. The stuff I buy costs more money. Gas is more expensive here. Employees are $25 an hour. So like, do I compete where I'm already at a disadvantage, where like I'm screwed? Or if I do it at home, right, then I've already paid for the space, so the space is the same. Maybe I live in California where the items are better because people are more affluent. Um, do all the work myself, and since I'm an expert, maybe it's fast. I was considering, I don't know if this would be useful for you guys, but a nap time hustle. So, as an example, my daughter sleeps for about 1 hour. So, what I was thinking of, because we use the sleep pod, so if you guys have seen this contraption, it's a black tent that goes over your crib. So, it makes it completely dark. What I was thinking about doing is, well, somebody in the chat let me know if the Canon Elf makes a sound when you take a picture. I'm curious if the Canon Elf makes a sound. If it doesn't make a sound, um, I would use a camera. If it makes a sound, then I might use my iPhone. But essentially, what I was thinking of is roll up carpet, 2 front-facing lights. Okay, so this is my nap time hustle baby setup. Put the baby to bed, right, for the nap. You have 10 to 15 items already prepped. Roll out the carpet, turn the lights on, take 10 to 15 sets of photos, sit right there, do your 10 to 15 listings, put the carpet away, put the lights away, baby wakes up. That's my theory. So, if your baby can sleep for an hour, and most babies can sleep for an hour at some point, then you can knock out your 10 to 15 listings. Maybe I do that at home as my form of my eBay store instead of doing the big operation that nobody can relate to. I don't know. It's interesting.
Side Gig says, "Don't do it at home. Your daughter will be needing more space as she grows, and you might have another, and your wife might kick you out." But you have a garage.
I have a garage. Yeah. My wife might kick me out. That's true. She might do that anyway. So who's to say that running an eBay store at home would be the only way to do that? 2 would be good. Hopefully we can make another soon.
Let's see. JJ says, "Why does Whatnot take so long to approve new sellers? I have a shop at my house with about 10,000 t-shirts, and I sent them video and socials and haven't heard anything back."
Email me. You're a good candidate of somebody that I might be able to help. Chris at Daily Refinement. It's hard to approve people because like there's so much information. Name, phone number, email. They have to make sure that they trust you. So social media helps. Pictures of your inventory, videos of your inventory. It's just hard to look through that many people and pick who's good. I have a question for you guys. You guys know that Poshmark is launching live. eBay will eventually launch live, not for everyone, but for some people. Do you think that's good? Letting everybody sell? I don't know if that. What if anybody on Whatnot could stream? I don't know if that would be great or bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm confused. I don't know what would I don't know what would happen if everyone was allowed to stream. I don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
Well, I know for sure there would be no way to enforce anything because like how can you even control that? That's so crazy. Like anybody can stream anytime any item. That seems like seriously the wild wild west.
Okay, P says, I sold something on eBay local that was sold to me during my shopping spree. But then the customer who bought it opened a case saying that it was originally stolen from him and that I sold him his stolen item. What can I do?
Whoa. Wow. I think if you sell a stolen item, you are out the money. If there is a police report, and the serial number on the police report matches the one that you have, you're screwed. If it doesn't and there's no proof, I think eBay would stand behind you. So it just depends. Like it's very difficult. Like if there is a serial number and it is stolen, they can just take it. You lose all of it. If you buy something for $1,000 and it's stolen, and the police, I think they arrest you. Like maybe they can't prove that you're the one that stole it, so they let you go. But I think they arrest you if you're in possession of a stolen good and somebody says it's theirs. They at the very minimum they confiscate it. Do you guys know? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure if you have stolen goods, the police can just take it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in law enforcement.
Suzette says they have to prove it by police report. They have to go through channels, and you do nothing.
I think so. I don't think you can. No, I didn't steal it. I don't think that works. And I think that he said I stole it, so he gets it. I don't think that works either. This is actually pretty interesting. So people are saying it's okay?
The mic?
Yeah, I haven't heard any
Oh
complaints.
yeah, everyone says it sounds great.
All right. It's definitely more fun talking into the microphone.
It's like your show.
Yeah.
Own show.
Okay, last question.
Last question. Oh
Last
boy,
question.
there's so many questions. Okay, I feel like you've answered that before.
Let's see. Last question. Yep, last question.
Okay, how about Blue Skies? They say, how many items realistically can a part-time reseller list daily, do you think?
15 an hour. So however many hours you have in a day times 15 is realistic.
For a single person.
For a single person. And we did one. Christine and I
Yeah.
did 10 in 40 minutes, and it was like not too bad.
Yeah.
So
And that's the whole thing.
that's the whole thing. Shipping,
Customer
customer service, listing, for all of it, we did 10 in 40 minutes. So
Or Chris did it in
Yeah, yeah.
40 minutes, and I filmed him.
yeah, she filmed. That was fun.
Yeah.
I would do that again. So hopefully, Blue Skies is hopefully going to come visit. So I'm considering opening up the first week of every month. You can come here and learn. I don't know how much that's going to cost. I think it's just if you're in my Patreon group, it's free. That's what I would like to do. If it doesn't get too insane, I would like the first week of every month. You can come hang out here and list in the store. I can't list on eBay, but maybe I can vicariously list through you. So just don't list your items here, so you get suspended. So just come here. I wonder if that would tarnish your eBay store. But if you come here, take your pictures, list on your own hotspot, I think it would be fine. But we'll call it. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks
Bye.
for hanging out. Bye.